The bottom line is we have to draw a line in the sand and say, no, we are not going to surrender our semi-automatic firearms, period. And thankfully, I'm hearing from sheriffs and police and military personnel from all over the country that are saying that very thing.
Hey friends, SGT here, and it is my distinct and absolute pleasure to welcome to the show Pastor Chuck Baldwin. Pastor Baldwin, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sean. Good to be with you.
It's very good to be with you. And before we get started, I just wanted to tell you a little bit about Mr. Baldwin's bio. He's an American patriot, politician, and pastor, and he was the presidential nominee of the Constitution Party in 2008. Chuck Baldwin Live is his radio show. He also writes a daily column for News with Views. He's got courage. He supports ending U.S. involvement in the United Nations, reducing U.S. income taxes, and repealing the Patriot Act. He supports the gold standard, the right to keep and bear arms, and homeschooling, and he's just an all-around amazing guy. Pastor Baldwin, it's just so terrific to have you on. Thank you so much for joining us. Look, on Thursday, traitor to the Constitution, Dianne Feinstein, called for the banning of more than 150 types of firearms, and your recent article, My Line in the Sand is Drawn Here, was really one that captured attention here in the alternative media, and if it's okay with you, I'd just like to read a portion of that for folks.
Sure.
Okay. In that article, you wrote, "Make no mistake about it. To take away an American's right to a semi-automatic rifle is to fully disarm him. There is no Second Amendment. There is no right to bear and keep arms. There is no citizen militia. There is no liberty without the semi-automatic rifle." And you concluded that column, sir, by saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, whatever the consequences may be and whatever anyone else does or doesn't do, I am prepared to become an outlaw over this issue. This is the last line in the sand for the defense of this republic."
I don't think there's any doubt about it. If we don't take a stand on this issue, then I think we are deceiving ourselves to think that we will take a stand on any issue. This is the defining issue for liberty in America.
Well, sir, what do you make of the Obama administration's move against the guns? We've seen false flags in the past, and I don't need to get into any of that type of stuff with you now. I've written myself a little bit about the Sandy Hook massacre, but it seems time and time again that the powers that be use events to strip Americans of their rights. And one really good example of that is after 9/11, they introduced the Patriot Act. They introduced the John Warner Defense Authorization Act. They said torture was okay, and they opened Guantanamo Bay and sent prisoners there, folks that are still trapped there, folks that have been cleared for release, but the administration can't release them because of the stories they would likely tell. What is your take on what can only be described as a tyrannical elite coming after our guns?
Well, I think it's the propensity of power-hungry people to accrue power unto themselves. And let's face it, we have a lot of people in Washington, D.C. that are corrupt with the lust for power. The ultimate vanguard for liberty is the right to keep and bear arms. If you look at history, there is one constant. When you disarm a population, you enslave that population. There's never been an exception. The United States of America is the last bastion of freedom in the world. We are the last country where the right to keep and bear arms is practiced with such an amazing proliferation and continuation of privately armed citizens. Now, I realize that Switzerland is a heavily armed nation. Israel is a heavily armed nation. But these are small countries compared to the United States. The United States has over 300 million people in it, and well over a third of the population of this country is armed. So when you look at the magnitude of arms that are in the possession of private citizens in the United States, you get a little feel for how important it is that America maintains that right. I contend, Sean, that if America ever loses the right to keep and bear arms, tyranny would engulf the world. I believe that those nations which would consider themselves part of the free world owe that freedom to America's Second Amendment. So there is so much at stake here that goes beyond your house and mine. We're talking about the safety and the security of the entire free world. And I believe that this is one of the reasons why the power elite, as you're talking about, those who desire a global governing structure, who want to see the removal of national boundaries and the creation of a global economy, a global currency, and all these ideas, which we know are being propounded, that the only way they can accomplish this is to disarm the American citizenry. Now, I've had people from all over the world in places like Australia and Great Britain and Germany and Canada, places that have already experienced some sort of disarmament, who have expressed such a fear for what will happen in their part of the world if America loses its Second Amendment freedoms. So there's no question that this transcends just somebody owning a AR-15 in his own private residence. The implications and the ramifications of this are literally global in nature.
Yes, and you write in one of your articles here, this article called Revolution, you write, and I quote, "Make no mistake about it, attempted gun confiscation ignited America's war for independence," end quote. And I think that's so powerful because you and I both know that what the mainstream media is doing and what the quote-unquote liberals are doing in government, I'd call them authoritarians or totalitarians, what they're doing is they are selling this idea that they're not coming after the guns, they're coming after quote-unquote assault rifles. They're not coming after the guns. They're coming after quote-unquote high-capacity magazines. They're using language and they are preying on the emotions of people as the tactic by which to get the guns. And it's really, really shameful. It's really, really, it needs to be called out for what it is. And that's communist, anti-American, anti-freedom, anti-liberty, right?
Oh, yeah, no question. Two things in that regard. First of all, the short answer first. Does anyone really think, anybody really think that if they are successful in banning the semi-automatic rifle, that it's going to end there? Does anybody in their wildest imagination really believe that if they are successful in their attempt to ban the semi-automatic rifle, that they'll say, okay, that's it, that's enough, no more gun control, we got everything we need? They're already using, for the bolt-action rifle, they're already using terms like sniper rifles. They will demonize other firearms, and they will then try to confiscate or ban those firearms. You never have gun control in piecemeal. It's always in total. The goal is to completely disarm the American people. They will not stop with the semi-automatic rifle. That's the short version. The little bit longer scenario is the importance of the semi-automatic rifle to the safety and security of the American people. The semi-automatic rifle, first of all, is not an assault weapon. An assault weapon is a rifle that is capable of fully automatic firepower.
Right.
The AR-15 variant is not an assault weapon. It is a semi-automatic rifle. It is used by hunters every day. It is the weapon of choice for those who predator hunt. It has a legitimate purpose in the field by hunters, and is used every day for that purpose. Secondly, the semi-automatic rifle is the preeminent tool by which one's safety is maintained. Two things in that regard. First of all, put yourself in the urban environment in which there is a high crime rate. Anybody that lives in or around those environments know that the miscreants who prey upon unarmed, unprepared people do so in a variety of ways, not the least of which many of the criminals who attack innocent people are high on something. They are drugged, either through some kind of narcotic or chemical or alcohol, but there's some kind of a drug in their system. They are not thinking rationally normally. Their body is not functioning normally. They are being controlled by some sort of substance. You say, well, how does that relate? Well, first of all, add to that the adrenaline rush that goes through a body whenever any kind of a stress situation arises, such as the commission of a violent crime. You are dealing with a person that is very difficult to take down or to stop. Even a well-placed shot sometimes is not, many times as a matter of fact, studies have indicated most times is not sufficient to stop the invader. It takes multiple shots to stop someone who is high on some kind of drug, alcohol, narcotic, that is in the process of a violent attack. The ability to shoot multiple rounds in the defense of your life and family is absolutely critical. Secondly, in these high crime areas, it is common that the miscreants will attack in packs. They're outnumbered very quickly by people who are intent on doing you great harm. And again, your defense and the defense of your family might come down to how many times you're able to pull a trigger and cause a bullet to go down range and defend your family. The old concept of the 6-gun, the 5-shot revolver, is completely archaic in an environment that I'm describing. So the point is that even from a self-defense situation, the semi-automatic rifle is the preeminent tool that is required to defend you and your family. Secondly, it is the semi-automatic rifle that is the tool that is most capable of defending our citizenry against a tyrannical government.
That's right.
Everybody understands that. The Second Amendment was never about hunting. It was never about target shooting. It was about being able to resist tyrannical government. The semi-automatic rifle is the tool that is best suited for that purpose. And it's interesting to me that as this debate began to emerge, that the Communist Chinese government in Beijing began to lend their voice in support of the disarmament of the American people, especially the semi-automatic rifle. Why is that?
Well, thanks for watching Part 1. Don't miss Part 2. Click here.